What is up, guys? It is MMA Mafia coming at you with another video. Today we're going to be ranking the UFC GOATs. My criteria for this list is going to be: have you ever popped for steroids, your quality of opponents, and title fight wins and win streaks. With that out of the way, let's get straight into it. Number 10 spot is going to be Anderson Silva. He gets knocked down on the list because of the popping for steroids, but also for losing at the end of his career. I'm going to bring that stuff into it too. But his best wins are Chael Sonnen twice, Rich Franklin twice, Vitor Belfort, and Dan Henderson. Doesn't really have the best wins either. It's kind of an overrated resume. But he did have a 16-fight win streak. He was a long reigning champion. But the more the years go by, he's going to start slipping more and more down the UFC GOAT list, and I think he'll be out of the top 10 in 4 years. So yeah, Anderson Silva is going to be number 10 on the list. And at number 9, I'm going to have Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, Khabib's on my list at number 9 because before he got in the UFC, he was just fighting pizza delivery guys. He was fighting plumbers, mechanics. He wasn't fighting anyone good before the UFC. His best wins are Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor, and Dustin Poirier, which are decent wins, but he didn't really fight like too many great people during his UFC career. He only fought about 4, 5, 6 good fighters, in my opinion. And also, I think him retiring early really brings him down on this list. I think if he fought more, he might have been higher up on my list, but since he retired early and he didn't really get to fight any other competition, maybe he fought like a Charles Oliveira, he fought like a Dariush coming up or something, he'd be a little higher up on the list. But I have him in my number 9 spot. But also, being undefeated in the UFC, even if it's just 13-0, is still pretty impressive, so he's going to be at the number 9 spot. The next person we're going to have on our list at number 8 is going to be DC Fatty Daniel Cormier. I have Daniel Cormier at number 8. He has great wins over Stipe, Gustafsson, beat Rumble Johnson twice. His only losses are to John Jones and Stipe. And I'm not counting the second John Jones fight because John popped for steroids in that fight, so we're not going to be counting that in this list. He was a double champion in the light heavyweight division and the heavyweight division. Dominated those divisions other than the losses to Stipe and John Jones. No one else really came close to beating him at any other fight except for Gustafsson. So yeah, Daniel Cormier is going to be at the number 8 spot. And at the number 7 spot, we're going to have Kamaru Usman. He had a 15-fight win streak. He has good wins over Leon Edwards. His Sean Strickland win aged him really well. George Masvidal twice. Colby Covington twice. Tyron Woodley. RDA, and Gilbert Burns. He has 3 losses in the UFC. The one with Hamzat was really close. I honestly thought it could have been a draw, but they gave it to Hamzat, but it was a really close fight. Lost to Leon Edwards twice. Wasn't really the same after the first Leon knockout, but he has 6 title wins, and he's the second best welterweight of all time. And he has great wins that I think he deserves to be in the number 7 spot. Next person coming in at number 6, we have Jose Aldo. Now, Jose Aldo has 10 title wins. He has great wins over Frankie Edgar twice, Chad Mendes twice, the Korean Zombie, Renato Moicano, Jeremy Stevens. He had a great run in the bantamweight division. He also beat Rob Font and guys like Chito Vera and Jonathan Martinez. He is one of the greatest featherweights of all time. If only he didn't have so many losses on his record, he'd probably be higher up on my list. One of my favorite fighters. Not trying to be biased, but the 2 losses against Max Holloway, the loss against Petr Yan, the loss against Volk, they bring him down a little bit, but he only lost to the best of the best. He only lost to Max Holloway twice, Volk, Merab, Petr Yan, and Conor McGregor. Those are not bad losses to have, but they're still losses, and they're going to bring him down the list a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to have Jose Aldo at the number 6 spot. Coming in at number 5, I have Max Holloway. I have him above Jose Aldo, not just because he beat Aldo twice, but he has wins over the Korean Zombie, Justin Gaethje, Arnold Allen, Yair Rodriguez, Charles Oliveira. He beat Frankie Edgar when Frankie wasn't completely washed. He has a win over Anthony Pettis. He has great wins. Win over Brian Ortega. 4 title wins. His resume is stacked. He has a great resume. But the losses to Volk bring him down a little bit. The losses to Poirier bring him down. But his resume really shines through. And he's still going. His career's still going. He still has a couple years left in the tank. I think if he beats Ilia Topuria is going to do wonders for him on this list, but we'll see what happens with that. But I have Max Holloway at number 5 on my GOAT list. Coming in next at my number 4 spot, I have Alexander Volkanovski. I have Volk on here for his wins. 3 wins over Max Holloway, which can't be stated enough. He has a win over Jose Aldo. He has 6 title wins. The only loss at featherweight he has is to Ilia Topuria. He also has wins over Yair Rodriguez, Chad Mendez, and Brian Ortega. And I also think you got to take into consideration how close the Makhachev fight was. Even if he didn't win the fight, he came really close. But he was very dominant at featherweight. He has great wins, and I think that makes him deserve the number 4 spot. I think if he didn't lose to Ilia Topuria, he probably could be close. Maybe he would be number 3 above who I have next. But at number 3, we have Demetrius Johnson. Now, I know that Mighty Mouse doesn't really have the greatest quality of wins, but he dominated the flyweight division for so long. He was beating these guys for such a long time. And he has wins over Henry Cejudo, Joseph Benavidez, John Dodson, and Adriano Moraes twice. Now, he's 1-1 with Henry Cejudo. He has lost to Dominic Cruz. He lost over at 1FC to Adriano Moraes. But he does have one bad loss to no-name Brad Pickett. I don't know who the fuck Brad Pickett is. And I know this will really count for the GOAT list, but I think if you put him in the flyweight division in the UFC right now, I think he could easily become the champion again. And yeah, his opponents may have not been the greatest, but he was out here styling on guys, throwing them up in the air, putting them in an armbar and finishing them. Nobody does that. So yeah, I have Demetrius Johnson at the number 3 spot. Now, this is where I think I'm going to lose some people right here. I got John Jones at the number 2 spot. He is not my GOAT. He is not the greatest of all time, in my opinion. Obvious reasons for the steroid use. I think he lost a fight against Dominic Reyes. I think everyone knows that. Even though Jones fans like to cope and say that, well, the judges scored it for John Jones. Well, I'm not fucking asking you, buddy. I know what I saw. I saw John Jones lose that night. And also, maybe if he only popped for steroids one time, I can maybe let it slide. Put him number 1 on my list. No, he's popped for steroids multiple times, and I just don't think that I could put him right on my number 1 spot for that. And his so-called best win in the UFC was the Daniel Cormier win where he head kicked him in the second fight, but that got overturned because he popped for steroids in that fight. But he's a 2-division champion. He was very dominant in his light heavyweight reign. He has wins over Daniel Cormier in the first fight. That's what I'm counting. Alexander Gustafsson 1 time. He popped the second time. Rashad Evans, Glover. That Glover win is really aging well. Cyril Gane, Rampage, Vitor. So he has some decent wins. I know the John Jones fanboys aren't going to like this, but everyone will talk bad about any other fighter for popping for steroids. When someone brings up John Jones popping for steroids, everyone just goes quiet. So I don't want to hear it from anyone. John Jones is the number 2 GOAT of all time. So you probably already know who I have at my number 1 spot. Georges St. Pierre. I have GSP at my number 1 spot. One of the most dominant champions of all time. 2-division champion. Has over 10 title wins. Matt Hughes twice. BJ Penn twice. Nick Diaz. Carlos Condit. He redeemed his loss against Matt Hughes and Matt Serra. Also, in my opinion, on the GOAT list, I think that it's really, really open season. I think anyone could take the number 1 spot any time in the next couple of years. But it seems like every time someone gets near to the top 5, they start losing, they get knocked out, they start getting washed, and they start retiring. I do think in the next 15, 10 years, the whole GOAT list will look completely different than it does now. But that's just my GOAT list for now. GSP, never popped for steroids, 13-fight win streak also, dominant champion, and he's my number 1. But that's going to be it, guys. Hope you liked the video. Like and subscribe. Support the channel. I'm going to be making new content soon. I'm going to be going live soon. We're going to be doing all that shit soon. But like the video, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys want to see next, and I'll see y'all in the next one. See you later.